Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, man facing robbery charges killed in St. Ann. A man who was before the court on several charges linked to a robbery was killed on Monday at his home in Claremont, St. Ann. The man, 32-year-old Orlando Pennant of Coltart Grove, was reported to the Claremont police station as a condition of bail. It is reported that about 3 p.m., two men armed with handguns entered the premises and asked for Mr. Pennant. He was then shot multiple times. The gunmen fled the scene. Teachers and students are fearful about school safety. President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Leighton Johnson, says that the shooting which unfolded at Utrecht High School in St. Ann on Monday is the unfortunate reality that some schools are having to grapple with. It was reported that a 14-year-old male student was playing with a gun in a classroom about 12:45 when it went off, hitting a female student in the leg. The police are probing how the boy came to be in possession of the weapon. Speaking with the news, Mr. Johnson said it cannot be denied that some students are disruptive and instill fear in educators and their peers. He said that the GTA's call for a revamping of programs geared towards safety and security is not happening fast enough.
We know that no learning or teaching can take place in an environment that is threatening and one that is not comfortable. The teachers are afraid to do their duties and the students are in an environment where they do not feel safe, then it is going to impact on our outcomes and our results. And unfortunately, many of our schools in our country experience this kind of environment. So yes, there are students who process differently, and of course you will say that their brains are not necessarily developed. But they know right from wrong. Students understand rules. They do understand rules, and they do understand consequences. So at this point, I believe it is not an excuse for us to indicate that this was just in poor judgment. If that child had died, the conversation would have been different. The conversation would have been different. So therefore, we need to get to the place where we understand again that students must know and they must be taught consequences of their actions.
He said Utrecht High School has handheld metal detectors and the students are subjected to random searches. Stuart Jacobs, president of the National Parent-Teacher Association of Jamaica, said it cannot be business as usual in the education sector for the next academic year. Mr. Jacobs said urgent intervention is needed starting over the summer holiday.
Because we cannot go into September with this fear. The school is supposed to be a place of solace, a place of comfort that will encourage the education process, the learning process. That's not happening because the children are also scared, the teachers are scared and apprehensive, and civil workers are on edge. The entire system is on edge because the gangs are migrating into the schools and youngsters are getting braver and more brave to take into a school a weapon such as a gun to show it off that it is then triggered and fired. It means that there is a total breakdown of the safety in schools. It's no longer the inner city schools. It is happening throughout the country, in the rural areas as well as urban areas. And what is also interesting is the age group that it is happening in. This youngster would be like a third farmer. Is a child still thinking, as President John said, the learning process is still happening, but he's still smart enough, still have critical thinking enough to carry the gun in the school and show it up. There has to be a total revamping of what is considered security in school.
Defense suggests hundreds of pics taken at the scene are missing. The crime scene investigator, who doubles as a forensic photographer, said he observed ammunition and other items in the bushes during his assessment of the scene where Keith Clark was murdered 14 years ago, although he did not get to directly photograph them. He made the disclosure while being drilled by defense attorney Valerie Nita Robertson Casey about the things you saw with your eyes but you were unable to photograph. Nita Robertson is representing accused soldier Greg Tinglin, who is on trial with 2 other colleagues in the matter in the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston. So you were required to photograph as is, even though the photograph could not show what you saw with your eyes? Nita Robertson asked. Yes, ma'am, he responded. You are aware, however, that where things like ammunition end up in a matter is very important, she asked. He again answered in the affirmative. The defense is arguing that the fugitive Christopher Dudus Coke was camping out in Clark's basement with 7 to 8 heavily armed cronies on the night of the deadly May 2010 raid that claimed the life of the businessman. The gunmen are said to have engaged the security forces in a fierce gun battle before escaping. Clark's widow and daughter, who were home with Clark at the time of the incident, have denied that anyone else was at the house that night. The crime investigator explained that he did not get to directly photograph some areas due to the state of the premises. And you're asking us and the jury to accept what you say you saw was in fact there, and you're asking that we do so even though you don't have any visual proof of it? Nita Robertson asked. Yes, ma'am, he replied. The witness then said that the beer bottles seen in photographs on a table that night, which the defense suggested showed there was a gathering, were swabbed for fingerprints, but this was not in his statement. The forensic photographer said he examined the scene between 1 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. on May 27, 2010 and took photographs. Later he said that he returned on May 28 and 29 and saved the photographs on 3 compact discs. He could not tell the court on Tuesday which photographs he took on which of the days. They were, however, labeled. Although he did not take a video of the scene, he later acknowledged after being asked that the footage was taken by a late detective, but not on his instruction. He said he did not assist with video direction either. Nita Robertson gave him his statement to look over, asking him to help the court to identify the dates, but he said he could not. You agree that in performing your functions as a photographer of a scene, you were not as accurate as you should have been, she questioned. No, madam, he responded, adding that he was acting under instructions of the crime scene manager. So you photographed what they told you to photograph? The attorney asked. Yes, ma'am, I did, the investigator responded. Asked whether there was a reason he had omitted taking photographs on different days in his statement, he said no. He later revealed that although he took notes at the scene, the notebook was misplaced, as relocated in the office numerous times over the last 14 years. He could not recall how many photographs he took, but said that would have been recorded in the notebook. So you are unable to assure me or this court that what we have received here amounts to all the photographs you took? Nita Robertson asked. No, ma'am, he said. She suggested to him that he took 1,040 photographs and downloaded them on a CD, but he said he could not recall. Nita Robertson further suggested that photographs 341 to 1,018 and 1,019 to 1,040 were missing, but the witness said he could not speak to that. The attorney also challenged his evidence that all windows at the 18 Kirkland Close St. Andrew House were grilled. Not all windows at that premises are grilled. You agree or disagree? She sternly asked, to which he responded, all the windows that I observed were grilled. She asked for the exhibit of another photograph of the master bedroom, where it is said that Clark used the grill at the window to climb atop his closet before being shot repeatedly. The scene of crime investigator insisted that the window was grilled. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.